Fly Eagles Fly. Welcome to another jam-packed episode of the Blunt Talk Sports Podcast. Week 1 preview, Eagles versus Cowboys. I am your host, Anthony Wright, coming to you from the beautiful and fall-like confines of Atlantic City, New Jersey. Wherever you may be watching or listening, I thank you as always. Like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel. You can check the Blunt Talk Sports Podcast not only here on YouTube, but on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Substack, Patreon, Trovo, and as well as on Podbean. Don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Thanks. Happy to be here with you guys on this beautiful Thursday evening, September 4th, 2025. First football day of the year. The regular season is now back. No more fuck-ass preseason. This episode is going to be dedicated again to the Bird game. We're going to be talking about Eagles versus Cowboys Week 1 preview, my mental notes, and some things that I think you should pay attention to. And if you're going to make your bets, I'm doing this episode an hour and a half before the game, so I definitely want to make sure I get this episode out. As always, like I said, don't forget to check the Blunt Talk Sports Podcast, wherever podcasts are at, and Patreon, YouTube, Substack, so on and so forth. Hopping into this episode, obviously, important game for Philadelphia and Dallas right off the gate. First game of the season, rivals. Interestingly enough, after this game, the Eagles and Cowboys do not see each other again until November 23rd, so it's right around close to Thanksgiving. Not exactly Thanksgiving, but close to. So it'd be a very interesting way to start off the season. Both teams want to start off the season with a huge jump, a huge victory against a divisional opponent. This is going to be big. And this is also something, too, that also is going to be looming in the series. Obviously, with the departure of Michael Parsons, a lot of people are going to be wondering what the hell is going to be going on with Philadelphia. What's going to be tying into this? How are they going to be prepping? How is Dallas going to combat, Philly's offense? Is the youth going to become much of an issue? I think there are a lot of variables that are going to come into play. I think there's a lot of things that we're going to have to definitely speak on and attest to in this episode. So, like I said, this is going to be a quick episode. First, we're going to start off with the game. Obviously, this is going to be Brian Schottenheimer's first time being a head coach. This is the same offense that the Philadelphia Eagles have been playing against for the past 2 years. So it should not be anything new or anything, earth-shattering or new, revealing for the Eagles defense. They've seen it. They know exactly what they got going up against them, as well as Matt Eberflus, former Bears head coach, former defensive coordinator of the Indianapolis Colts. Him now being the coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys on defense, replacing Dan Quinn from a couple years ago. He now will also, Mike Zimmer actually was the defense coordinator a year ago after Dan Quinn, and then Eberflus took over this year. So a lot of change for Dallas, obviously, a lot of change going into week 1. A lot of things are going to be expected from them. Here's what I would say going into this game that I think needs to be, very keyed in on. The matchup between George Pickens and whoever is going to be defending him. I think it's pretty safe to say that CeeDee Lamb's going to be sliding around a lot of times in the slot. Whoever's on George Pickens will have to play a good game. He is not a receiver to be slept on. He can dominate. He can take over a game. So this is something that the Eagles are going to have to pay attention to. I know Adoree Jackson is possibly going to be the starting right corner, but he's a bit on the smaller side. So we'll see how Vic changes some things up to help Adoree Jackson or help the Eagles defense out there. There was a big question of if Quinyon Mitchell would be traveling a lot. I think in specific games that may happen, but I don't think necessarily Vic Fangio and the Eagles are throwing all their chips, in the table at week 1. It just doesn't make any sense, schematically at least. 2, how will Dallas deploy their running backs? Obviously, it's going to be a running back by committee approach. Javonte Williams is going to be the lead back coming out, formerly of the Denver Broncos, now with the Dallas Cowboys. Miles Sanders, also formerly of Philadelphia Eagles fame, had a short and brief and a stint in the witness protection program, aka the Carolina Panthers, for 2 years. Now, he's in a situation where he's left looking to, make a name for himself and get another contract after this. So the Eagles are going to run defense is definitely going to be tested tonight. They know the Cowboys know that to keep the Eagles defense honest, they're going to have to run consistently. And I feel the defensive line is going to have to step up. The Ojalaris, the Uches, Nolan Smiths, the Jalen Hunts, they're going to have to be very disciplined in their run support gaps and run lanes to prevent Dallas from being able to make it an even matchup. Also, too, health on both sides. I think this is also a major thing. Tyler Guyton and Trayvon Diggs for the Dallas Cowboys will be playing tonight. I know that was something that was a little bit in question. Tyler Guyton less than Trayvon Diggs. It was confirmed yesterday. Trayvon Diggs will be playing in this game tonight. Also, it's now for the Bird game. The only guy that's going to be out, unfortunately, is Tanner McKee, the backup quarterback. Tanner McKee obviously suffered that thumb injury a couple weeks ago at the end of preseason training camp. But nonetheless, big news, Landon Dickerson, who suffered that meniscus tear at the open practice at the link a few weeks ago, has been practicing since, is already back. He's going to be playing tonight. He'll start at left guard. Andrew Makuba, young safety out of Texas, made a couple plays in the preseason. They were wondering if he was going to play. He's going to play tonight. As I aforementioned, Josh Uche and Jalen Carter, who have been dealing with a shoulder injury throughout the summer, is also going to be set to play. They're all going to be playing tonight. So all hands are on deck for the Eagles, in spite of what the Cowboys have, because in the cornerback room, defensive backfield, they're very thin. They have a lot of guys outside of Trayvon Diggs. They did re-sign DeRon Bland, but they play him more in the nickel-based packages. So very interesting to see how all of this is going to play out for the Dallas Cowboys. But as far as injuries goes, both teams look like they're pretty settled there. The biggest factor for Philadelphia, I think, well, for Philly, just don't get cute. Don't get cute. You can run the ball very well against this team. This team cannot stop the run. They're not going to be able to stop the run in 1 week, even no matter how much of an effort they're putting into it. So with that being said, I think you do have to commit to the run, honestly, at the beginning. Even if it's not working, even if Saquon's not getting the splash plays, he's only getting a couple yards at a time, you know the routine already. Wear them down, wear them down, wear them down. By the third, fourth quarter, you'll be just moving them for 25, 75-yard gains and scoring. So that's going to be the biggest factor. Keep the running game going. Even if it's not working, keep the Cowboys defense honest, because if you can, that passing game is going to shred the Dallas defense tonight. Ultimately, too, will the Eagles throw more? I think that's going to be an interesting question, because with Dallas having a lot of new pieces there on the offensive and defense, well, more or less offense with George Pickens, but more or less on the defensive end, combating an Eagles offense that has been together for the past, let's just say, 3-4 years. It's going to be a little bit rough. It's going to be a little bit rough. I think I would expect Philly to run a lot of no huddle, a lot of quick tempo, just to try to keep Dallas off kilter and keep their defense from being able to substitute. They have a lot of young guys, the Donovan Ezarakus, the Marshawn Nealons, guys, Odigi Zuas, the guys like that, where they can really, get in there and really try to generate a pass rush and try to force Jalen into uncomfortable situations. So Philly has to definitely be mindful of that. But I think that's something the Eagles offense might try to go to, get a lead early so that way they can then rely on the running game. But I just feel if they can definitely blunt Dallas's pass rush, Dallas will be in for a long night. And last but not least, as far as the odds of who wins. Now, as far as the betting favorites go, I know you guys are waiting for this part. Betting favorites, obviously, we all know the Eagles are favored at -7.5. I am a huge Eagles fan. I've been a diehard Eagles fan since I was 3 years old. I have argued, and I would be okay if I'm wrong tonight. I think that is too big of a spread. Now, the Eagles in their last 5 games against the spread have been 4-1. So, not really good if you're a bettor, not really in the best shape of, for you tonight. It might not be the thing you wanted to hear. But just to give you a little stat on that, this is via statnews.com. The Eagles are 4-1 in their last 5 games against the spread. So that being said, be careful with that tonight. That's something to definitely keep an eye on. As far as touchdown seekers go, I would definitely say keep an eye on Saquon Barkley, obviously. Jalen Hurts, obviously, of course, tush push. And I would also say keep an eye on Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith is somebody I think definitely is going to be in a lot of key positions to win a lot of easy matchups tonight. I have no idea who the corner is going up against him, so it could potentially be a very long night for that young man, whoever it is playing against Smitty. So I definitely say keep an eye out for that. And last but not least, fly Eagles fly. That's going to do it for this episode, guys. As always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Definitely plug into the game. It comes on at 8:20. For those of you, that haven't really realized or gotten to it already, definitely make sure you get all your NFL subscriptions and things taken care of before tomorrow, because after tonight, you got YouTube game going on tomorrow with Chiefs and Chargers, and then after that, it's like some public games, Sunday tickets. So make sure you get all that ironed out now. Take care, fly Eagles fly, and enjoy your night. Don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Thanks.